Hello, my name is Breven. Would you do me the honor of introducing yourself and your film?
Hello, my name is Daniel Mart, and I am the director of Corner.
Thank you so much for being here with us, for creating this project, for exploring coming of age, what is real, choices, consequences, all of these things. Can you talk about the project, and then I want to know about you as a filmmaker?
Yes, so Corner's about Wendell Franks, and he's this former drug dealer who's trying to get his life back on the right path. And he's talking to his therapist about the incident that basically led him to go on the right path, that the incident that made him want to make this change. And the idea came from my friend Ollie. He's the writer for this film. And it's one of those things that he always wanted to explore. He always had a slight interest in that kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say world, but like having that in that idea of having that one specific moment change somebody's life for the better or for the worse. Because he thinks it could be just too, there's always consequences, good and bad consequences. So you want to explore that. So we talked about it, and then after he wrote it, I directed it, and here we are now. For me as a filmmaker, I originally started off as an actor back in 2016, and I didn't really start getting into filmmaking, directing, producing, writing until about 2017, 2018 with my first short film, The Deal. And since then, I've been working on several other projects. Some of them I've directed, some of them I've written, some of them I've produced. And yeah, right now this Corner is doing its film festival run. I have another film called Quince that's also doing its film festival run, and another film called The Date, which is just starting to do its film festival run. So yeah, I'm involved in many projects. Another film I've produced called She is just ending its film festival run this month, if I'm not mistaken, or next month. And I mean, no, we just started December, so yeah, this month. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm involved in many projects. And yeah, that's my journey as a filmmaker thus far.
Awesome. Well, that is exciting, and you are doing a lot. You're very prolific in the space that you are working in. So congratulations on that. Can you talk a little bit about the types of projects that you gravitate towards and the kinds of stories you want to tell?
Yes, of course. Recently, I've seen myself drawn more to more horror projects or dark dramas. So basically, originally I started off with my first film, The Deal, was more of a crime drama, and that's a film that I always wanted to make. That I've always had the idea, so I made it. And basically, The Deal is about these two guys who find a bag of drugs and they try to sell it to a drug dealer. So that was the first project, and then from there, I always thought I was gonna do like that type of stuff, like crime dramas, but just the way things turned out, I ended up gravitating more towards, like I just said, horror films. Because from there, it led on to Unwritten, which is a short little comedy drama, and then from there, it led to this web series that I have. It's currently on hiatus, but it led to this web series that I made with a friend called Jordan Vegas, called Silent Locale Cinematics, which are basically silent short films, and they all have this fantastical element, this fantasy element to them. Some of them do lean into that horror aesthetic, especially episodes 3 and 4, which are called The Last Supper and The Last Fair Deal Gone Down. The Last Supper is basically about this chef who's trying to gain knowledge any way he can, and he sees this figure who he believes he can gain said knowledge from. And it gets very dark very fast. And I would say that's probably the most experimental film I've done. It was very heavily inspired by The Lighthouse and The Witch, Robert Eggers films. I would say it's probably very surrealist in a sense, very experimental. So there's that, and then so that's The Last Supper, and then The Last Fair Deal Gone Down. It's about this violinist who he's trying to be the best violinist he can be, and he sells his soul to the devil. And again, you have those real dark elements, very macabre elements to it, because you're dealing with the devil. And Yeah, it's one of those things. What those two films, I kind of dipped my toe into that whole horror and dark fantasy genre. Kind of went from there. From there, Quince is a slasher film, essentially. Like you're a classic teenage slasher film.
Mhm.
And basically that was made for a part of a bigger project called Deadly Numbers, which is an anthology film. And Quince is basically the 15th film. Quince means 15 in Spanish. And it's basically about this slasher who kills on the 15th day of the month. And he chases after some local teenagers and goes on to killing them. And then the last one I did called A Date, it's heavily inspired by Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. And it's basically this woman goes on a date with this guy, but she notices that there's some peculiarities to the way he speaks and the way some of the stuff he's saying, and not to spell too much of it, but just one thing leads to another, and dark elements, horror, and kind of goes from there.
Amazing. Well, I thank you for sharing all of the incredible inspirations that you're getting from these incredible projects that you reference, and also how you're going about it, telling your own stories. It's amazing. And congratulations on all of the festival success as you're talking about. So if I may jump into a question based in my current research, it's as you're exploring the festival space and as you're getting feedback from your films and you're getting all of the things that you get from the festivals, can you talk about how we can improve as festivals and the festival space to support you more effectively so you can keep creating?
That's an interesting question. One thing that I like that some of these festivals do is the way they promote the films they have lined up. Some festivals just have the website and say, here are the films you have, here are the times of showing, and then they kind of just do that. But some of them who have like their own Facebook accounts or Instagram accounts or Twitter accounts or whatever have you, they're like, hey, they promote the film in a sense like, hey, don't miss out, Corner showing at this time, or Corner is playing as part of the this film festival's lineup, for example. So I mean, just I guess the way they could promote the films, I think it's something I like. It's something that some film festivals can improve upon.
We're one of them. We have a lot of room for improvement in this space.
Right.
We're really bad at this.
Right. And then another thing would be just overall, I guess organization. I think for that, that's one thing that really comes down to it, for the festivals to be organized. Because for the festivals, you want to have that sense of camaraderie, that sense of community within the film festival, community that you're trying to build up there with the festival that you have. Because you're going to have a lot of either international people that are involved, or people maybe they're not international, but let's say, because I'm based out of Florida, and there's a lot of films that come from Georgia and Alabama, for example. You want to have that. You want to try to set up those connections, and I feel that there's some festivals that don't do that as much, or don't try to do that as much, and some that do. So just trying to build up that camaraderie and trying to have that sense of connection. And part of that, and one of the reasons that sometimes fails is because the film festival as a whole sometimes isn't organized.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Organization, clearly very important. I mean, similar to a production, right? Like if your film isn't organized, right, things are gonna fall apart a lot faster, or have the potential to, if they aren't set up to succeed. So yes on organization. And then I know we have all the room to improve for promoting you as an artist. So I know that's a space we definitely literally anything we do would be an improvement to how it has lived in the past. I admit all of my fails in this space. But I hope, right, that through conversations like this and us, brainstorming together and talking about it, we can be making intentional decisions moving forward so that we're being as, meaningful as possible for your experience, because it is at my core that I want to support artists, but I want to be making sure that I'm empathetic to your experience. Otherwise, it's not going to do any good, right?
Right.
So thank you for brainstorming with me. And then in that same way of thinking, is there anything that you see as ideas of how the entertainment industry could be improving so you have more access as a creator to keep creating the projects that you're creating? So it's sort of like we macro or micro with the festival and then sort of macro at the industry at large. How do things improve in like looking into the future?
I think it goes back to that organization thing and trying to have that sense of camaraderie between the film festivals, because every creative, whether you be a director, producer, writer, actor, even a grip or lighting design or whatever,
yeah,
you want to try to connect with as many people as possible to get further work and get further recognized and whatever have you. And if you're talking about expanding, it always starts from the base. So it comes down to like that ability to possibly connect with people. Like I said, I'm based here out of Florida. I want to try to connect with people out, in Atlanta, New York, Chicago, Austin, LA, and even internationally. So Toronto or London, whatever have you. I think on a greater scale, it just comes down to trying to have the ability to network. Yeah,
no, I agree with you. And the hope is that, like I said, at minimum, we're having the conversations. And then ideally, practically speaking, we can actually come up with some proposals of like, this is what could improve things. So more people have access and more people can keep creating, because that's where I am literally pained in regards to the loss of artists when they can't just keep doing this, even though they have great ideas and even though they want to and they're passionate about it. The space isn't necessarily set up to just be supportive of you because you want to be a creative. And I'm not saying everyone should be an indie film darling or even a studio filmmaker, right? Like I'm not so ridiculous to think such a thing that everyone can do that. It is a select few, but everybody deserves a chance, right? And that's what I'm trying to explore. So then what does that look like?
Right, of course. I mean, like I said, I think this year for me, especially after the disaster that was last year with the world going to hell, I've really been trying to expand. So like I said, with that, with Keen said, that was part of a larger project. I've been able to connect with so many filmmakers because Matthew Mart, he's the director of the overall project. Me and him have been talking and collaborating on several other projects. So I did another skit for another one of his films. I forget what it's called right now, but it's basically the skit was take two movies and combine them into one little skit and show it. It was for Halloween. I forget what the name of the movie is right now, but I basically did a mix between Nightmare on Elm Street and being John Malkovich. So I did that. So yeah.
I want to see that.
And then I've done a voiceover for one of his upcoming series called Echoes of Slaughter, if I'm not mistaken. I did a quick voiceover for the pilot episode, and I think he has me lined up for the second or third episode. I need to double check that. But like I said, and then even like it's just not him. Again, that project was with a lot of other people, so I've been able to. There's this guy in Ireland called Dean Houlihan who I've been able to contact with because he was part of that project. There's a guy in LA called, he bounces between LA and Columbus. He's called Joe Philippone. I believe that's how you say his last name. And I know he's done some bigger indie stuff, and I know his career is right now taking off a bit. So I've been able to connect with a bunch of other people just through him. And
awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, and even after I've been able to, because before the pandemic, I went to a lot of these local film festivals, so I was always able to connect with some of these other people. So now that we're just slowly starting to get back up on our feet, I've been able to contact some of these other people and see how they can help me. Whether it just be for like simple advice or for like quick notes on the script or whatever have you, or hey, just look, hey, can you look at the film and see just not review, but what do you like or not like, and see how I can improve from there. Even like the little stuff like that, I'm able to whatever helps me build that connection, build that bond and friendship at the end of the day is what helps me further myself in the career.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you're doing great work. I'm excited to see what you're working on next, and I want us to be a champion of you as you continue on. So please continue to share your work with us and keep us posted on what you're working on. You know, someday I'll figure out the promotion stuff better. And we all have so much room for improvement, me in particular. But however we can with the festival, we want to be intentional so that we're supporting you as meaningfully as possible. So Thank you for being a part of these conversations, and thank you for being present with me right now. And I look forward to more.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Bye.